Shalom, and all praise to the Most High Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Rakak Badash, and double honor to our apostles, elders, and bishops here at Great Millstone for teaching His truth that's going all around the earth. And shalom to the hopeful elect out there. It's your brother Atazawan, back again with another quick lesson. Lord willing, it'll be edifying to the hopeful elect out there. All right, whoever may watch this video, this lesson, and going to go into a couple of different things, and hopefully you'll be able to follow along, bear with me. I might get all over the place, but just a couple of things going through my mind here. One being that this time that we're living in, and we see the days of evil that are here, right, and that these particular days are just going to get worse for those of us here in Babylon, right, living in Babylon, and quite frankly across the world, because there's evil all over the planet, right? But there's a big concentration here, because there's a concentration of the 12 tribes here in what you call USA or Babylon the Great, all right? And we see the whole ordeal that's carried over this week from last week, with this guy being taken out. And I'm gonna try to choose my words carefully, but in giving some thought behind that, we know that there's scriptures that tell us, those of the hopeful elect, of these days that will be here and how we are to navigate through them, right? So the Lord has sent men and prophets to teach us for these latter times, right? Because what's in the scriptures and the prophecies, all right, will be brought to pass, in the time that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua sees fit. So we understand that there's a left side and there's a right side, right? There's in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And so this place, which has deemed itself a country that serves quote unquote God, which there's nothing but evil here, they also have what they call a left and a right. All right, in which we always say that the left side and the right side are in unison, right? That it's a joke played upon the people that there is a difference. However, there are those in whom the Lord has given over, especially of our people, who believe one side or the other. Mostly those, if you want to say, who believe in the side of quote-unquote freedom to be whatever you are, to do whatever you want to do, say whatever you want to say, stand on the left, and on the right are those who are radical and claim to be those who believe in the scriptures and this and that, in which they're controlled as well. Doing the controlling, if you will, is that one party of of Satan. All right, they're all the same. It makes no difference. But you see, through the scriptures, that the Lord does have a left and a right. Those goats, and we'll get that scripture, Lord willing. Those goats will stand on the left, and then what? The sheep will be on the right. Okay, wickedness is of the left hand, and righteousness, Salakia. Wickedness is of the left hand, righteousness is, of course, of the right hand, right? So just making a little comparison there. Here, this wicked place, it tries to act like they have some righteousness in it when they don't, okay? And the same people who are ruling, right, and have been in power for years, especially if we just narrow it down just to the last 500 years on this side or so, give or take a few years, right, are all wicked, okay? And the scripture told us that the earth would be given into the hands of the wicked for such a period of time, all right? And as we draw closer and closer to the end, or, if you will, the beginning, all right, of the kingdom that will come in, which is the kingdom of our Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, we get closer to that as we get to the end of this wicked man's rule, all right? So we have a lot of things that we have to be on the lookout for, okay? I said all that just to say, let's go into Job 9:24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the earth was given to the wicked. And we know that that wicked is Esau, Edom. And of the chief tribe of Edom, you have the chief tribe of the Amalekites or Amalek, right? In which throughout this time period here, since the 40s, late 30s and 40s, these people have gone around the earth, claiming everything and yet still being the victim, right? But pulling all of the puppet strings behind the scene, okay? And so you have nothing but a stew or a pot of evil that's brewing, okay? And this whole, as one brother put it, Salaki, I can't remember the video or his name, brother over there in the UK, talked about a paradigm, right? I just watched that just a few minutes ago, Salakia. And so it made me think about that. That's that paradigm of left and right when the whole system, the whole theology, the whole thought is evil to begin with. There is no left and right, but they want to act like you have a choice, okay? Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn, right? And so this place, the earth in and of itself has to be brought under new management, okay, to get the wicked out of the earth, okay? But you do see one side that's right and one side that's wicked, right? Righteousness on one side, wickedness on the other, or as you would say, the left and the right. And it's the people in this paradigm that say those that are on the right are righteous, more righteous than those that are on the left, and which all of them are wicked, right? Because they're being run by the wicked, right? Who runs under the authority of Satan, right? Given that the Heavenly Father has said, this is how I want it to be, okay? If you understand what I mean. Okay, so let's go over to Matthew 25. We jump in right here, verse 31, and it says that you see there the judgment, right, and how the Lord will judge things. Okay, there's a left, and then there's a right. There's a wicked, and then there's a righteous. Okay, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall he gather all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from his goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, right, which are the meek, the lowly, right, if you will, okay. But the goats on the left, wicked, or in this case, not the goats are wicked, but they have a different temperament, right? They're more independent, they're more stubborn, okay. Sheep tend to follow or have a docile personality, okay, that are led, they have a leader or a shepherd, okay. Verse 34, then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come ye blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was a hungry and ye gave me meat, I was thirsty and ye gave me drink, I was a stranger and ye took me in. Right, this is a parable, all right? Naked and ye clothed me, I was sick and ye visited me, I was in prison and ye came unto me, right? Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when shall we, Salakia, when saw we thee in hunger and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, insomuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me. Then shall we say also, Salaki, then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels, right? And so we liken, okay, this as it is, as a parable, all right, to give an understanding, okay, that there's going to come a time period where the Lord is going to bring forth his judgment in the earth, and those of you who will be the goats along with the devil, this man, right, who's acting and playing the part of the devil in the earth, right? Be it whatever your affiliation is, all right, and this is where I got to be kind of careful with whether you're an Alphabet City person, you believe in free this, free that, free love, you believe in all these weird, eccentric lifestyles and this and that. You a goat, and you're on the left side, all right? Okay? Even of our own people, because you side with the side purely of wickedness, no matter how you cut it, right? And then there are those of us who believe in the righteousness of these scriptures of this book, in which these people over here in Babylon from the very beginning said that they believe, right, that this is supposed to be a quote unquote Christian nation, if you will, and yet they've done nothing but pure evil, right? We know the history of this place and how they founded this place and whose blood they shed to take it and what people they put in chains to work it for over 400 and something years with no pay, right? And think that they're righteous, right? In the eyes of the people of the world, you know, they're not righteous. They're all wicked, whether they stand on the left or right, right? But in the eyes of the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, those of you who work that iniquity, whatever it is, right, you're on that left side. Going on in verse 42, it says, "For I was a hungered, and ye gave me no meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in. Naked, and ye clothed me not. Sick, and in prison, and ye visited me not." Right? Which likens unto the soul or the spirit of a person, right? Just if you want to put it into a phrase of, not a phrase, but when you analyze it today and you look at what, particularly in this moment, since this is what's shining a spotlight from what happened last week to this week, this particular king that's ruling, right, has changed a lot of the laws that did help people, as it were, okay? Had a system or a safety net that did help people, and yet he yanked it away from them, you see? And that's pure wickedness, but yet in their minds and those that stand with him in this administration think that they're doing righteousness, right? That they're going to ultimately, you know, rule over your lives while you're here, you know, to get, as they would say, order, right? But they want a new order, if you get what I'm saying. Let me drop down here because we look at this word paradigm, okay? Paradigm. And it says a typical example, let's highlight it if it will, a typical example or pattern of something, a model, right? So they create these models, okay, of how they think society should be and how it should run based on their thoughts, what they write out on paper, all right? A set of linguistic items that form mutually exclusive choices in particular syntactic roles. Let's get a different basic common meaning, right? It says, in simple terms, a paradigm is a fundamental framework or model that shapes how a group of people understands and interacts with the world. It's a set of beliefs, ideas, right here. It's a set of beliefs, ideas, and theories that serve as a pattern or standard for how to think and act, right? Like the rules of a game that define the boundaries of play, right? So these people today are trying to force, okay, their paradigm, their new shift into how they want this society to be run, okay? And those of you who are not, hooked up in the truth, okay, you're going to be shuffled along, all right, over to that new paradigm, okay, of belief where they're going to either rule you by choice or rule you by fear, okay, one way or the other. And those of us in this truth, because we're given the wisdom through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, all right, and our teachers, okay, starting with the apostles of the great millstone and their teachers that they had before them, many of us have woken up to the truth through the spirit, all right, to get the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of the scriptures, which will guide us, okay, and shield us as it were, to put a hedge of protection around us so that we're not sifted, right? So that we're not shoveled off to the left, right? In this new paradigm of America that they're forcing. However, it is by the hand of the Lord. All right. Going on to verse 44, it says, "Then shall they also answer me, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered or athirst or a stranger or naked or sick or in prison and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, insomuch as ye did not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal," right? So that's the choice really that's put before, especially the Jake, because you got a lot of Jakes who believe in this idea of living, as they say, on the left, being these liberals, right, and have hooked themselves up to a paradigm, a system under the wickedness of this man, okay? And that's just the Lord giving them over to it. But it's funny to me how, you know, the Lord in the scriptures has a left side and a right side, right, as to America, who tried to, you know, make itself seem as though it was the most righteous nation on the planet, using quote unquote Christianity or the scriptures as a backdrop, in which all they did was wickedness, because it's run by the wicked and run by this wicked man. Lord's will, that makes sense to you. All right, let's look at Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1. "I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. I will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak." And it's speaking very loudly right now, all right, because we are at the end time. You know, Satan, through this man, all right, through this devil, it has been revealed, okay, and his system has been revealed. "And not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith," right? Those two sides, that left side, that right side, right? Okay. This man's soul is not right in him, right? Okay. So he's not going to ever do righteousness. Though he tell you with his mouth that's what he's seeking, right? As they say here, the right wing, the left wing. But it's all the same evil. Okay? Doesn't matter who's sitting in the power seat, you know, the fact of the matter is that Yahweh Shem Yahushua put each and every one of them in that seat, you know, the one he chooses to bring about ultimately the end to this place. But as I said earlier, it just made me, you know, in thinking about it and listening to the brother's lesson, it made me think about how they try to have this duality like the Most High, but they're altogether wicked. Verse 5, we'll read a little bit more. "Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he's a proud man," right? And you know who that man is, right? Okay, Esau Edom, okay? The so-called white man who's running this thing. Neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunted proverb against him, and saying, Woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long? And to him that laden himself with thick clay. That's America. Really, basically, going into the dead of America, but also taking a land that doesn't belong to you. Increasing yourself even through the people with taxes, all kinds of things. Here it is, you living at a time where people are making, if you will, in terms of dollar amount, making more money than their parents ever did, than their grandparents would ever have seen in their lifetime. And yet you're no further along than what your grandparents were. At the end of the year, your income tax statement may say you made X amount of dollars this year. And you look at that and you say, man, I've never made that much before, but yet your lifestyle has not really increased. You see? Verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and await that vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them, because thou hast spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that covereth in evil covetousness to his house. And that's what this house of Esau has done. They have brought about covetousness, and it's an evil one, right? To go all throughout the earth, taking other nations and other people's resources, even if they're human resources, right? That's what they got a department in almost every company in this land called human resources, okay? Where they use you physically, mentally, and drain you spiritually to get the most out of you every day that you're there, and give you nothing in return. You see? That's an evil covetousness, man. You see? And that's just one aspect of it, okay? But these people have taken on things that don't belong to them to make themselves wealthy and rich, okay? Going on, it says that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil, right? See, because they want to live a rich life and never see trouble, and they don't care how they do it and how they get it. And so basically that leads you right back around to what you're seeing, of those of that nation over there that they call the Middle East, right? How they're manipulating everything that goes on over here in Babylon the Great. You see? Verse 10, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. You see? So these people are wicked and evil. And this is just another part of the play, right? This is just another act. Like when you go to a theater and you watch a play, slacking. A play may be, 4 hours long, maybe, right? And then you have certain acts that go on. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and so on. Okay? Certain things are supposed to happen in each act as the actors, right, come out and play those parts. Okay? So everything that we've seen over the last week, it's all an act, right? Though there's some truth in it as to what was said by this person or that person, and that someone actually pulled the trigger, and so actually someone was deleted, but it's all part of the act. Ephesians 6:10, it says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Right. So what's going to come from this particular act that happened last Wednesday. What's going to happen after this, right? And those of us, Lord willing, we are on the right side, right? That we are the sheep of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right, we got this armor on, these scriptures, this hedge about us, Lord's will, okay, to protect us from what is going to transpire, right, from this particular act that happened last week, okay. All right, I'll just say with the CK situation, okay, that now they're going to try to induce certain authorities, certain laws, right, to bring about what they want. And may the Lord protect us and our families from it, right, from the fallout that's going to come from this. Because we anticipate things to get worse, not better. Verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And that's what you saw last week, right? And so it's just going to have that snowball effect where it's going to eventually lead up to some things that we anticipate, right? That the Lord, has given us wisdom about, and we have been speaking about for some time now, all right? That the prophets of the Lord have been speaking about for some time. And now you're starting to see it, even to the point where those people of the world, right, the secular people are even saying, hey, what's up with all this stuff that's going on? A lot of people are upset. A lot of people are getting scared, right? A lot of people are voicing their opinions on all these social media platforms, which eventually you're not going to be able to do that anymore, okay, without being punished. Okay, verse 13, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil days, and having done all to stand, right? So these evil days are upon us, right? The Lord is the one ultimately who brings these evil days, but it's worked through these particular people, okay? What? To cause that separation, right? Because there will be a judgment, and there will be a reward, right? There will be a destruction, and there will be deliverance. Verse 14, stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, above all taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, right? And so they're going to throw things out there, okay, in this time period here, these are these darts, these legislations, these policies, and so on, all right? These threats, in a certain aspect, all right? Many things can come out of that, but that's just one aspect of it, you see? And take the helmet of salvation, verse 17, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High, right? And that's why you have to know this word, because that's going to be, your tool, right? That's going to be something that's going to keep you alive, knowing the scriptures, all right? Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And the saints are the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, whether you can receive it or not. That's the truth, right? But you have to deal with the wickedness of this man, okay? And it's not a wonder how these people stand before you as they continuously giving their press conferences about what they believe, has happened, and that this came from the far left, no matter the fact that this so-called suspect, right, is a right winger, okay, taken out by his own kind. All right, but yet they push it towards the left side to tell you that they're responsible for it. You see? And so they try to make themselves to appear as that they want righteousness. They don't want righteousness. They can't do it. Okay? And that's that appearance that they give that they're on the right side of justice. It's 2 Corinthians 11:13. For such are false prophets, deceitful workers, and that's who you see in office, right? Those principalities in high places, they're deceitful workers, right? Transforming themselves into the apostles of Mashiach, right? They said that this was a Christian country, okay? And here this dude got put out the earth for what he thought his principles were righteous above everybody else, and they put him out of the earth. All right, well, the Most High did. All right. Verse 14, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. You see? Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers, right? Because these people are wicked and evil, and they are the ministers, they are the devils, right? Of Satan. They're the ministers. All right. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, right? And all of them think that they're righteous, but they had this young fella out here as if, you know, he was going to lead some kind of moral victory here in Babylon the Great. Whose end shall be according to their works, right? So he got put out of the earth on his last words, talking about a certain group of people, right? And those were his last words that he was put out of the earth on. The irony of it all, you see, and goes to show you, as we love to say, that the Lord has a sense of humor. Okay? Let's see here. Let's go to because the only way Salakia. Did I want this? Let me see here. I don't want to keep going. I don't want to make it too long. Let's do this real fast here. Bear with me a second. Let me see where I want to jump in here. Let's just jump in at verse, let's just jump in right here, verse 11. It says, and having no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them, for it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret, but all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light, for whatsoever doeth make manifest is light. Wherefore we say, to wake out of the sleep and arise from the dead, and Mashiach shall give thee light. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil, right? Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And be not drunk with wine, wherein excess, but be filled with the Spirit, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord, giving thanks always for the things unto the Most High and the Father in the name of the Lord, Yahushua Mashiach, submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of the Most High, right? And this is what the righteous will do, okay? This is the script that we follow, okay, of Yahushua, right, the prophets, the apostles, okay, all right, okay. So I think that's all I wanted out of that. Let me hurry along here, because these days here are wicked, so we have to walk circumspect, and we're watching this circus, right? We're watching this program that's being run, right, every day. Okay, we see the news and what they're talking about, but we're watching this act. Okay, all right. because these days are evil, and we were made aware of it through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that these days are going to get more wicked, all right, due to the people that are at the top, though, that those principalities in darkness, okay? And so the Lord is going to bring about these evil days, and what follows in those evil days are destruction, right, in different ways. And let's read a few of them here. It says, behold, 2 Ezra 16 and 14, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till they consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days, right? So even Esdras, was seeing this in the vision as what the latter times will be, what the prophecy was, particularly for the nation of Israel, right? But these things that would happen upon the earth, okay? And what are you starting to see now? Verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, and that's what's coming, okay? The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation, anguish, Salakia, and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, right? And so these things are coming upon the earth, and yet people, they're starting to see it, right? But what is it that you don't see? You don't see a great change in the people, right? They're waking up and witnessing what they're seeing and kind of putting two and two together, but ain't none of them changing. The only ones that will change are those that are of the elect, okay? But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, right? So they won't turn away from what they're doing. They witness it, they see it, right? And I know I'm kind of all over the place, but they see these things happening, and because they don't have the wisdom of the word, they can't find a way to make sense of it all and try to see, well, how's this thing going to end up? What's going to happen now? The prophet's been telling you what's going to happen. There's no wonder, okay? But when you're not in this word, you can't see it, all right? Now, lastly, we'll get this, because this is who we talk about, the man of lawlessness, right? The wicked whose the earth is in their hands, okay, who'll bring about all this deceitfulness and wickedness, okay? 2 Thessalonians 2:1, it says, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, right? So the elect are not shaken by the things that they've seen. Only the people who are on the outside of this thing are wondering what's going to happen, and they're shaken in their spirits, okay? That ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Mashiach is at hand, and that day is fastly approaching, okay? Even for them back then, they thought it would happen, okay, but there was yet some other things that had to happen, prophecy-wise, leading all the way up until what you're seeing today. Verse 3, let no man deceive you by Salakia. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that happened already to the Israelites, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, right? And he's been revealed in this time, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High, right? Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way, right? And this man has got to be taken down, and he will only be taken down by Yahweh Shem Yahushua, who let this go on, okay, until that time is fulfilled. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. And that's what you're seeing even today. From last week, you're seeing some of the signs and lying wonders of this man through his magic, his media, his technologies that he's using, okay, his plots, his schemes to bring about his wickedness, okay? So that'll do it for the lesson. You know, Slaki, I've had 3 or 4 different directions to kind of go in, you know, to kind of make sense of it all from the left and the right, which is, you know, the wickedness, right, in this earth, playing a part or an act of like they're the duality of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because the scriptures tell you about how the Lord would separate those on the left from those on the right, and that in the days of evil, this man will be revealed, right? And so you're starting to see all these things really come to a boil, right? It's like a stew. You know, you might have potatoes, you might have carrots, you might have a bag of frozen peas in it. You got your gravy, you got your, you know, your beef stock, you know, or your pot roast or whatever it is that you're making. You know what I mean? You throw it all in there at one time, right? So anyway, Lord willing, you know, it made sense to you. You know, this man of lawlessness and wickedness is the one that's performing these acts in the earth. But Yahweh Shem Yahushai is the director, the creator, right, of this particular play. You see? So I'll close right there, giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Shalom.